legend of the Phoenix. All ends with beginnings.
Welcome back to
What keeps the
Good Morning Grand County here on TV 18. We're with Katie Ferrington with the Never Summer Adventure Race. Thanks again for coming today. And so I'm totally intrigued by this adventure race. I've never actually done one. It sounds like something I would really have fun doing. So tell me a little bit more about this team component that you have to choose your team members. You guys elect each other. How does that work exactly?
Yeah, so every race is a little different as far as the makeup of the teams. But for the sake of either being part of the United States adventure racing like championship race or a world championship race, you need to either be a 3 or 4 person co-ed team.
Okay.
So for the world championship race, it is a 4-person co-ed team, and that everyone has that. For the Never Summer race, we are allowing 2-person, 3-person, 4-person open or co-ed teams. And actually the 6-hour race, we're allowing solos this year just to kind of bring more people into the sport.
So there's a 6-hour race and then there's a
24-hour race.
24-hour race? Okay.
Yep. And so the 6-hour race is designed to get people, new to the sport into it, because 24 hours is a little intimidating, and then finding a team is intimidating sometimes. So the 6-hour, if you can find one friend, or if really just you want to just do it by yourself to try it out, we'll let them do that. But so for the team. And you usually start off with friends. You break it down, but over the years, we've just me personally, I've just found people that have worked really well as a team. I mentioned that navigator is really important to have a strong one on your team. The mule, or person that can carry the pack rafts or extra weight. There's always extra mandatory gear. Like sometimes. You have to have a first aid kit, the bike tool, just the small things like that have to go in somebody's pack. So you give that to the mule. There's also, sometimes there's a ropes component or a technical whitewater component. So having someone on your team that really has experience with that type of stuff that can guide your team. So just kind of over the years choosing, people with their strengths. And
What was your strength on the team? What did you like to do?
Oh,
I know you mentioned singing songs and motivating the crew, but what was...
I'm a pretty steady person, so I think one of the strengths that I bring is that I don't have extreme highs or extreme lows. I'm very steady. I do handle sleep deprivation. Maybe it's because I'm a mom of 2 small kids. I don't know, or if it's a female thing, but usually night. For longer races, like 3-day plus races, you have to start sleeping at about the second night. But 2-3-day races, teams will try to stay awake for that long. And so night 2 comes around and you haven't slept for 48 hours, up to 48 hours, and everyone starts getting loopy. So having someone to really, keep you going.
Well, so what kind of gear do you guys have to carry for this trip? Obviously, if it's a longer one, you're carrying a lot more gear.
Yeah. So we'll talk Never Summer specific. We'll say the 24-hour race. Teams are required, each individual person is required to bring an emergency blanket. They have to have carry about 3 liters of water, so some type of hydration pack. I carry an Osprey, there's Camelback, there's lots of good brands out there. Raincoat, your food. During the bike section, you'll have your bike tool, an extra tube. For the 24-hour race, they have to carry lights with them, for bike lights and a headlamp, depending on what section. I'm missing some things, but yes, that's kind of in a nutshell.
And none of the teams know the course before
Correct.
they get started. So you get their map, and then the team gets their map, and then how do they proceed from there when they start the race?
Yeah,
They all start at one specific location, and then you guys shoot the starting pistol in the air, and everybody runs off in the woods.
So last night the teams got their maps, and they got a piece of paper that's called their rules of travel. So it shows the number of checkpoints, which I did bring an example of what a checkpoint is here. So this is what the teams are looking for along the course, and there is a punch at the bottom. So when they get to this checkpoint, they'll punch their passport. But their topographical maps show the location of the checkpoints. Their rules of travel then tell them how they're getting to those. So if they're on bike or foot. So for example, the 24-hour race, they're going to start with about a 20-mile bike. So checkpoints 1 through 5, they'll be retrieving on bike. They'll be going to each of those flags. They'll then arrive at a transition area. We call it TA for short. The 24-hour race, we will be transporting, and then the SIC 2, we'll be transporting their gear for them. So when they came to the starting line this morning, we're taking their gear from here to a unknown location. And so when they arrive then, they will see their gear bins. They can then leave their bikes, and they're going to be trekking for the second leg. They're going to leave their bikes and grab their their tennis shoes and anything they need, extra food, extra water, take off, do the trek leg, and then they'll be pack rafting after that. And legs, that's kind of how it goes. So there's transition areas, there's checkpoints, it's all written out in the rules of travel. And then they'll have passports, and that's how we know that they punched and got to each checkpoint.
Well, so how many adventure races take place in the state of Colorado every year?
This year was just 2, which is a low number. Usually there's more. Journey Racing put on the Nomad race early June, which was a 48-hour race, and then the Never Summer is a 6 and 24-hour. Usually there's more 6 to 8 or 6 to 12-hour races in Colorado, but this 2017 was just a low number year. You can find these races all over the country, though.
And so what's the name of the website that we can go to check that out?
MyJourneyRacing.com is Journey Racing, the organization here in Colorado that we put on races. But the United States Adventure Racing Association, USARA, I think it's .org or .com, there's a whole list of all the national races that basically teams will go and get points for their team, and which will ultimately end in a championship race at the end of the year.
And so there's a U.S. National Championship race?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the USARA National Championship race, which is end of September in Pennsylvania this year. So the Never Summer race is a qualifier for that. So the first place 3 to 4 person co-ed team in the 24-hour race will get a $400 paid entry into the championship race.
Awesome. So do you have any other races coming up soon?
Me personally?
For your team?
Yeah, I have after this, I'm in full mode into the World Championship race. It is being held in Wyoming and the U.S. for the first time ever. So it's a 4 to 10 day race up across Wyoming. We start in Jackson Hole and end in Casper. So that's coming up in August for me.
So you said 4 to 10 race. What's the longest race that the adventure race would want to do?
The expedition races, the longest, are usually 8 to 10 days.
8 to 10 days.
But top teams, like the number 1 team, in the world, they could probably finish in 4 to 5 days. So, but it's a 4 to 10 day window usually.
Now, are there other countries in the world that do adventure racing?
Lots of countries. It's huge in New Zealand, Australia, Europe. Yeah, it's big around the world, a lot bigger than it is here in some places.
Awesome. Yeah, I know our television station sponsors a lot of them, and Outside TV airs a lot of material from those.
Yeah.
Well, look, thanks, and good luck on your future races.
Yeah, thanks. And if anyone wants to come out and cheer finish, Racers On, Granby Ranch is the finish line tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the 6-hour racers. The 24-hour racers will have finished that morning, but they're going to start gathering back up around 2 p.m. for the post-race party. So be at Granby Ranch around 2 if you want to see any of the racers.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks again for coming on and telling us all about this
thanks for having me.
Never Summer adventure race. And then you said 2 o'clock tomorrow.
2
at
o'clock,
Granby Ranch.
and then we'll be back
the
next year. The 2018 race will return to Grand County. So if you didn't get to participate this year, well, there's always next year.
Well, great. Thanks again. Good luck, Katie, in your future races. And once again, you're watching the Good Morning Grand County local television station here on TV 18. And after the break, we're going to talk about healthcare. So stay tuned.